Hello there, welcome back to the channel and the continuation of the exploration of the Replicators. Specifically the Milky Way Replicators that evolved separate to their Pegasus Galaxy Replicators. I may do a series on them eventually, but that isn't what's being directly covered in this, but they are going to be referenced by proxy in this video. As is standard on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe and comment down below to help this channel grow and to tell me your opinions on the Replicators and your theories on what I'm going to be questioning in this video. This video specifically is on the human form Replicators, which were the evolution of the block form Replicators first encountered by the Asgard on a dead human world in the Milky Way. They will go on to be the terror of the Asgard and the scourge of multiple galaxies as they absorb technology and knowledge from multiple different sources to advance their own cause of replication. Eventually, the Replicators would be lured by the Asgard to the planet of Hala, where they would encounter the remains of their creator Reese. In her image and in her honor, they would create human form Replicators. They would be very specific in telling humans that they were not mimicking human appearance, but they were mimicking that of Reese. I did always question why then didn't they all just look exactly like Reese? Why did they have to look so individualistic? But whatever. Their call, I suppose. In addition to this, the human form Replicators had multiple abilities that were above and beyond those of the other forms of Replicators. They were part of the overall Replicator hive mind, of course, but they were also capable of controlling the other Replicators, working as a sort of superior class of Replicator, demonstrating emotion and drive in some cases, although in not all cases, meaning there was some sense of individuality. The Replicator, specifically known as Fifth, who will get his own video, was an attempt by the Replicators to fix the flaws they discovered in the programming of Reese. These flaws made Fifth emotional and vulnerable to manipulations by the members of SG-1 and ultimately would lead him to embark on a Replicator holy crusade of revenge of sorts later down the line. The human form Replicators were possibly, and this is where things get questionable in Stargate, how and why and in what way were they connected to the Replicators and Pegasus? There was clearly a connection. They were clearly related somehow. We know that the weapon created to destroy them, built by General O'Neill using knowledge of the Ancients, was likely based on Lantean technology which had been developed to counter the Replicators that they had made. Now, some of the abilities of the human form Replicators of the Pegasus and Milky Way / Ida Galaxies were similar. For example, they were both made of neutronium, millions of tiny little blocks of nanites that were used to construct them and give them their appearance. It also allowed them to shape change and be near indestructible. The weapon that destroyed them worked by breaking down the bonds between these cells and allowing them to be destroyed by making them basically fall apart. These same flaw existed in both the Pegasus and Milky Way Replicators. They also had an ability to enter the mind of a sentient being, an organic one such as a human or others, by putting their hand into their head, creating a bridge between their minds. This bridge could even be two-way, allowing a sufficiently strong-willed and smart enough individual to actually enter the mind of the Replicators as well. Although they did seem to act independently and did have a certain amount of autonomy, the Replicator human forms were still part of the greater Replicator society and still embarked, despite their seeming intelligence, on the same radical crusade of simple replication being the beginning and end of all things to do with their society. Other ways that they may have been connected, which I can speculate on between the Pegasus and the Milky Way / Ida, was, as stipulated in one of my previous videos, perhaps it was actually a Lantean refugee that made Reese, therefore some of Reese's base technology would have been Lantean in origin, and that in itself may have been an attempt by that scientist to correct the flaws of the Replicators in Pegasus. Another possibility is there was some contact between the two, although that is doubtful considering their opposing ideological goals. The fact that they're both known as Replicators is also interesting, and there may be something to that theory as well, in that, again, going back to the Lantean, simply naming them all the same thing. Another possibility is that as the Replicators absorbed multiple technology from multiple sources, they merely came across a piece of Lantean technology, or the Asgard had previously absorbed that technology themselves by extracting it from a repository of knowledge created by the Ancients, allowing the Asgard to also at least to some degree, have the fundamental, forgive me for the pun, building blocks of this basic replicator technology at their disposal, but never actualized it, possibly because of the threat the replicators posed, and the fact that the Asgard 10,000 years ago would have known exactly what happened in Pegasus, and not wanted to create another race of replicators, knowing how dangerous they were, possibly more so even than the Wraith. So the replicators may have had access to this technology but not bothered to use it, as it had no meaningful, tangible benefit to them until they decided they were going to replicate human form Reese into their number. They had a simple naming convention, going with first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. when the first few prototypes were created, but eventually some of them, such as Replicator Carter, would begin utilizing the name Carter, would even take on attributes of her personality, although that was imbued upon her by fifth. Again, they're going to get their own dedicated videos, but these particular replicators were quite different. The base technology of them would lead onto Earth actually making its own versions of human form replicators as well in the future, although for vastly different reasons. So there we have the human form replicators, part of the greater replicator society that made up the Milky Way Ida Galaxy particular faction of replicators, and was such a great threat to everyone. They were instrumental in weakening the Goa'uld, engaging and ultimately leading to, although by proxy, the destruction of the Asgard to a certain degree, as well as a threat to various other races, and likely were personally responsible for the extinction of several races, or at the very least destruction of several of their worlds. So let me know in the comments below what you think about them. And the rest of this series is going to be being made soon. I'm apologising a bit for the delay. It's because I recently got married and I've had quite a lot to do in conjunction with that, plus the new job. Got to work a lot of hours. But as said, please like, share, subscribe, and the rest of the series will be coming soon, as well as sprinkled in will be seasonings of other franchises, and I will probably be returning to the main goal of this channel, which is mostly Star Trek content once I've done this series. But if you have any other series you'd like me to cover, mention it in the comments below and I'll see if I can get to it. I just want to take this moment to thank you for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, please check out my social links in the description box below to Instagram and Twitter and others, and also is down there a link to my Patreon page where you can support this channel and the others as I try to grow this franchise and do this more regularly. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye bye.